acrylics, body wave bundles, figs, and a Stanley Cup. What do all of those items have in common? According to the internet, if you have even one of these, that means that you are a mean girl nurse and you should quit tonight. I have been a nurse for about, I want to say, a year now, and the amount of hate that nurses get on the internet, but specifically TikTok, is ridiculous. I promise you that most of the hate that surrounds nursing as a field right now has to do with the fact that most of the people who work in nursing as a field of medicine are women, and the fact that a lot of the up and coming nurses are black. A lot of people were trying to gaslight me about this topic, trying to say, no, it's not race related, but a recent TikTok scandal has proven my points again. A lot of y'all are sexist and a lot of y'all are racist, so let's talk about it. So my qualifications to talk about this is that I have been a registered nurse with her BSN for about a year now, and a lot of the things that I have seen in relation to how nurses are perceived on TikTok have been quite disheartening. Yes, we have a lot of things to talk about in terms of mean girl nurses. I think I've done 2 videos on this topic, but I wanted to come here and talk about the aesthetics of nursing. A lot of the layman, the people who don't work in healthcare, don't really know what they're talking about. So I'm here to set the record straight. So there has been a recent scandal that has practically put everybody on edge in terms of the aesthetics of nursing. A lot of the hate, like I said before, has to do with how nurses look. A lot of the time, if you really listen to what people are saying, you can really figure out what their biases are. A lot of people have issues with how modern day nurses look like. I promise if these people had their way, we would be looking like these old traditional nurses with the little cute little hats and things, but that's not how modern nurses are. I have seen the way people talk about nurses and it's quite unsettling. People are upset that nurses have the audacity to come into work with tight scrubs, acrylics, bundles, scrub caps, and overall trying to look cute. For some reason, the general public thinks that if you are a nurse that has the audacity to put effort into her appearance, that means that you are a mean girl nurse. That means you don't care about your job. That means that you don't want to be there. That means that you're going to give bad patient care. And I'm here to set the record straight that that is not true. I will play the TikTok that practically inspired the whole idea of me making this video for y'all to see.
I don't like the direction and focus of the conversation. It's not balanced. And with that being said, I am going to make a few comments. This is a note and message to nurse practitioners out there who are practicing that I find to be quite frankly embarrassing. Okay. So just remember that when you're entering into your profession, you now represent all of us, okay? And with that representation comes, you need to be competent, clinically competent in what you're doing. So if you cheated and skirted your way through your program, didn't gain the knowledge you needed to gain when you were in your practicum before you graduate and all those things, you need to continue seeking higher education. You need to, there's fellowships, internships that you can do. And you should not be even practicing as a nurse practitioner if you know that you cheated your way through. Unfortunately, some of these programs don't have enough oversight to check and find the people who are not actually truly absorbing learning the material. I do think the clinical sites are underregulated because now nurse practitioners, they have all these programs that help you, companies that help you find a nurse practitioner, but you're paying them to be your preceptor. There's a bias there. If I'm paying somebody to precept me, well then don't they have to kind of pass me? You know what I'm saying? Like, especially if you find them independently and it's not even through an organization. So that's where the corruption's coming in on the clinical training for nurse practitioners, and why you're seeing some of these nurse practitioners come out, they're doing their clinicals with their friends or someone they know, and they're not actually gaining and absorbing the information they need to know to practice safely. That is a problem. I agree. Okay. That's something that the credentialing bodies need to be aware of and need to monitor and need to standardize the clinical training and make the board's exam harder for people to graduate. Everyone does not have the capability to be a nurse practitioner. Thankfully, in medicine, they have science, heavy science, and math courses that weed people out because most people aren't good at math and science. That's the gatekeeping right there. We don't have that in the nursing world. There is no gatekeeping. There's several different pathways you can take, which is a great thing, but also is seeming to backfire because there's some people who really shouldn't be nurses or NPs out there. Okay. So anyway, I say all that to say that for the people who are representing as nurse practitioners, I cannot stand the fact that I'm seeing ghetto providers all over social media watering down any respect that the nurse practitioner profession has. And that's why a lot of nurse practitioners are getting upset. It's one thing to still be learning because you're a novice, you're still within your first couple of years as a nurse practitioner. It's another for you to have the audacity to go on the internet, talk about being a nurse practitioner, and you are literally going into work with lashes out to here, face in full glam like you're about to go to the club, wearing nails out to here while you're treating patients. It is absurd. I have not seen this with any other profession. Like any other medical profession with an advanced degree doing this. I don't see it with pharmacists. I don't see it with psychologists, counselors, physicians, MDs, DOs. I'm not seeing it anywhere else. It's only with the nursing. And I'm like, what is this? I literally was on a Teams call for a hospice company I've been working with. And one of the nurse practitioners came on with a tank top and her breasts hanging out. So unprofessional, so embarrassing. And I'm like, this is why physicians don't respect, some physicians don't respect nurse practitioners. I don't respect you. I don't even care what your title is. I will not respect you in a professional setting if you don't even know how to dress. Dress includes your makeup, the long eyelashes, the crazy nails. That is unprofessional. I'm sorry. It just is. And I think that because there's so many hybrid programs online, these nurses and nurse practitioners are not learning about professionalism because the teacher is behind a computer. I remember one day I was running late to my clinical rotation, and so I didn't iron my coat. And my preceptor was like, she roasted me. And I was a little upset, because I was like, I'm working and I rushed here and I was under a lot of stress already. The last thing I cared about was my coat being ironed. Okay, I didn't think it looked that bad. But she made it very known to me not to ever come to her clinic without my coat being pressed, my white coat. And I appreciate her doing that because that is something I needed to know. Because when we are practicing, we are representing our profession. So I need all these nurse practitioner students out here flaunting, so happy that they're entering into nursing. I'm happy for you too, but I need you all to do a better job of how you're representing us and cut out the ghetto antics. I hate to say it, but it's ghetto. It literally is. So if you need to Google professionalism, what does workplace attire look like?
And so while everybody is making these nonsensical posts talking about oh, you're a nurse, you can't wear lashes, you can't wear nails, you can't do this and that as it relates to your appearance, there's actual things that we as a people need to be focused on. Like people violating HIPAA, people abusing patients. It was a whole situation that I still can't believe happened. But a nurse decided to take her phone, go on Instagram or TikTok live, and decide to practically violate HIPAA in order to get social media followers. To this day, I still don't know why Shawty did that. But there are nurses just like her who are going on live in order to do their med pass.
Apparently there's a trend of nurses doing med passes on live stream. And at this point, I need my nurse to have a flip phone and orthopedic shoes. Now you guys are familiar with Nurse Yaz. She was the nurse who was doing her med pass on live stream and then she lost her job.
I'm not gonna do that. I'm old enough, I'm grown enough to know that I did something I wasn't supposed to be doing. And I have to deal with whatever comes after that. And whatever comes after that is not for me to tell y'all. It's not for me to broadcast to the world.
So you can broadcast somebody's Auntie Shirley getting a medicated patch, but not how you got fired from your job. Got it. And y'all, I wish this was the end of it, but apparently another nurse over on TikTok had also been live streaming herself doing a med pass.
So let's keep it cute. I'm still like, play it.
I don't know when this phenomenon began, but we need to cut it out very quickly. I don't know much about nursing because I'm squeamish around blood, but I do know that if I were a patient and I saw my nurse on TikTok live stream while I was laid up in the hospital waiting for my meds and she's filming it, immediately I'm calling the nursing board. Because what are you doing? And what are you doing with my meds? And when am I going to get them? And why does the internet need to know what I'm taking? Again, I want my nurse with a flip phone and orthopedic sneakers. That is it. That is all.
Oh my God, y'all just be on here doing the most. Just relax.
Yes, ma'am. You do mornings. Yeah.
Healthcare girly. Okay.
Can you check my pants, see if they're dry?
Let me get a glove on. Nope, they feel dry, girlfriend. You have a... Ain't no patient information showing, okay? So y'all just relax. Oh my God, why do y'all keep doing that? I'll lose my license if I'm showing patient information. I'm not showing any patient information, so just relax. Just relax. If y'all see some patient information, then just holla. But I'm not showing nothing. I'm just at work, so just chill. Sit back, relax. Damn. I'd be taking the fun out of everything. God damn.
The fact that we consistently don't have safe patient ratios, all of those are at a higher precedent than someone's appearance will ever be. What is this place? I don't know. Let's check it out though. Shush. Everybody shush. Everybody shush. It seems as if somebody new has just stumbled upon our pastoral court. Hi there, stranger. My name is Ella Pastoral, and all of the lovely people that you see before you are a part of my esteemed court. From my squires who have early access to my videos, to my nobles who have special behind-the-scenes access, to my dukes and duchesses who are able to pick out topics for my videos, to my own special royal advisors who mean so much to me. All of these people make up the Ella Pastoral court. If you want to be like these lovely people and be a part of my esteemed court, go to Ella Pastoral on Patreon. But it seems as if you need to be on your way, traveler. Let's head back to the regularly scheduled content. And I do want to tell you this, because the general public, it blows me that you don't know. The field of nursing is a gigantic field. You can work in a hospital. You can work in a long-term care facility. And there's a lot of nurses who don't even work with patients. I know that there are people who work in nursing informatics. There's people who do legal nursing consulting. And so if you see that there is somebody who claims that they are a nurse that has nails, y'all gotta think a little bit before you start losing it. Because I be seeing y'all in these people's comments and you have to relax. It also just blows me because that whole mindset comes from like the ancient days of nursing, right? The ancient days of nursing when the patient population wasn't so sick. Because Mima and Papa, they're not the same Mima and Papa of yesteryears. Like you who is watching my video right now, if you were to get sick, you'd likely end up on a med-surg floor. Those patients are sicker in yesteryear. Whenever I see people in these comments saying, oh, if you were my nurse and I saw that you had all those tattoos and all those piercings and those eyelashes, I wouldn't want you as my nurse. Like, I hate to break it to you, but the likelihood of you getting another nurse because you don't like how they look is slim to none. Like, a lot of these floors are very understaffed. So you trying to request a new nurse because you don't like the aesthetics? Baby, you need to open up the Sims. You need to open up the Sims. But this is where I really want to talk about the current state of healthcare. It's actually such a mess and I don't even know what to say. So as of me filming this video, it is July 1st, meaning that the Senate has just passed Trump's big beautiful bill, meaning that we as Americans are screwed. It is a mess. I've been keeping my eyes very closely on this bill because this bill has practically screwed us big time in terms of what it is planning to do. There is a lot that is in the bill, but as a nurse, the thing that is the most concerning to me is what this means for the future of healthcare.
Not all nurses are mean girls, but the ones who are get elected to Congress and vote to cut Medicaid and Medicare for 15 million people. Republican Congresswoman Jen Higgins is a nurse practitioner in Virginia, and Congresswoman Sherry Biggs is a nurse practitioner in South Carolina. Either one of these nurses could have used their vote to stop this legislation from moving forward. If passed, this bill would cut Medicaid by at least $716 billion. Jen Higgins then tries to justify her vote by minimizing the toll of these cuts on our most vulnerable patient populations. If Jen Higgins believed that healthcare was a human right, this would not be a conversation. Recently, Jen Higgins was praised by nursing organizations for proposing legislation to support nurse preceptors in an attempt to address the nursing shortage through a tax credit for nurse preceptors. But as someone who works directly with nurses and other healthcare workers who are impacted by the toll of moral distress and working in a system that is designed to harm patients, There are not enough tax credits in the world that justify the moral distress associated with witnessing patients lose access to care that they need. If you are a nurse, a healthcare worker, or a patient impacted by Medicaid cuts, and you're disappointed in these nurses who are supposed to represent you, you definitely shouldn't call or email their office to let them know exactly how you feel. Is a nurse in Congress who you should be thanking though? Lauren Underwood of Illinois. Lauren Underwood is a public health nurse, a huge advocate for affordable healthcare access, and the lone nurse early this morning who voted to protect patient safety and affirm healthcare as a human right for all.
I rise today to speak out on behalf of millions of Americans who are about to have their healthcare torn away from them. Republicans have been working through the night to hand Donald Trump a massive tax cut to all those billionaires who are in the front row of his inauguration. It seems that nothing is off limits, and everything is on the table to get that done, including meals for hungry families, working families' health care, and the incredible gains that we have made to get more families affordable coverage. Today, Republicans blocked my amendment to lower health care costs, refusing to accept a proposal that Donald Trump's own pollster said is the most popular way to make care more affordable. And the Medicaid and nutrition cuts that they're pushing, they will be devastating. Hospitals and nursing homes will close and they will not come back. Kids will go hungry. Millions will lose their health care and more people will die. We will not stop fighting for the American people to have access to high quality, affordable health care.
Like I've been talking about on my channel for a year at this point, is that our healthcare system is already stretched to its limit. A lot of us don't have safe ratios. A lot of us are burnt out. I don't even want to talk about what's happening with the CNAs and the patient care technicians in terms of workload and what is happening with them. But I can only talk about healthcare coming from a nursing perspective. And now that the big beautiful bill is passed, I really am praying that you, the people you love, the people you care about, the people in your community never get sick, because it is about to be hang time for all of us. The big beautiful bill practically proposed that we are about to get Medicare and Medicaid cut and slashed in a way that we haven't seen in generations. And for those who aren't really in the know, that practically means that we as Americans are fucked. Like, I have to use vulgar language in order to explain to y'all how screwed we are.
These cuts go through. 1 out of every 4 nursing homes in the country is expected to close. Not suffer, not struggle, close. And think about what that means. We already have waiting lists for nursing homes, are already struggling with seniors who need care, and particularly seniors who have outrun their savings. And that's what is getting cut in this bill. Nearly $1 trillion in cuts to Medicaid and more cuts to Medicare.
The people who's in favor of Medicaid being cut drastically and think it's not going to affect you, and in fact it's going to help you, I want you to honestly think about all of these things. Medicaid is a major funding source for many hospitals, including rural and community hospitals. If they no longer have Medicaid coming in, and you have patients coming in with emergencies, you still have to treat them. You still have to treat people whether they have insurance or not in an emergency. So now the people are still going to be getting the same care, but now the hospitals aren't going to be reimbursed. And if hospitals aren't getting reimbursed, they can't keep the lights on. They can't pay their staff. They can't get the supplies, the equipment. Is this all making sense? So then they can't pay anyone and they have to shut down. And you're like, great, but we still cut Medicaid. We're saving all this money. Okay, so now the hospital is shut down, which means everyone's gonna have to divert to the other hospitals, which may not be close. It may not be close. If you're also one of the people who's proposing that more women should get pregnant and have babies, where are the moms going to go to deliver their babies? What if they don't have a hospital nearby? What if they don't have access to care? Or if they can't get in anywhere? Because when more hospitals close, right, they're gonna have to divert to other places. What do you think is gonna happen with the wait times? Now you need to go to the hospital for some reason. You have insurance. How much longer do you think you're gonna have to wait now that there's no other hospitals nearby because everyone's going to one place? The wait times are gonna get longer. The the healthcare staff is going to be stretched more and more thin than they already are. The hospitals aren't going to hire more staff. They're just going to stretch the staff thin, and care is going to decline. It's going to take longer to get care, and the quality of care is going to go down for everyone, not just people with Medicaid or who don't have Medicaid, no insurance at all. It's going to affect everyone. Do you know how many children have Medicaid in this country? Not only are women and children going to be affected, but we keep talking about how we have a mental health crisis and we're in a mental health epidemic. What do you think is going to happen when mental health facilities and mental health units are being shut down? Where are these people going to go who are in crisis? Where are these people going to go when they need a mental health provider and there are none? If we think we have a mental health epidemic now, wait until Medicaid is cut, because how many people who get behavioral health services have Medicaid? Not all people, but a lot of people. So there's a trickle-down effect. There's more than just a simple, we're cutting Medicaid and it's going to save us money. Think about all the money it's going to cost for all these things, let alone not just the money, but these are people's lives. So what do we think about homelessness? What are those rates going to happen? Incarceration, people with a crisis, maybe who's feeling like they don't want to be alive anymore. They might not have somewhere to go. So just think about it.
Medicare and Medicaid is how a lot of these hospitals are funded. Our population in America relies on this greatly, especially if you live in rural places. I'm not gonna hold you guys. As somebody who has seen what happens when you don't have insurance in a hospital, the fact that the government has decided that it is a-okay to slash and cut Medicare and Medicaid means that a lot of people are going to be screwed. And I'm trying to do an appeal to empathy here, because I've been seeing this rhetoric like, oh, I'm healthy, I don't have any pre-existing conditions, why should I care that the government has cut Medicare and Medicaid? And I'm going to break this down to you. In my hospital, we try to get people as medically stable as we can before they are discharged. I've seen so many patients in my 1 year of working as a registered nurse stay in the hospital for extended amounts of time because their insurance doesn't kick in. So imagine this. You are in the emergency room, right? You are waiting for a bed upstairs. You can't get a bed upstairs because Auntie Lou and Auntie Susie are stuck there because they don't have insurance coverage in order to go to rehab. So the bed that should have been yours rightfully is taken up because we weren't able to safely discharge somebody because they don't have insurance. Now imagine the world that we are about to be living in with these gigantic Medicaid/Medicare cuts. We are about to be screwed. A lot of these hospitals that have a patient population that is elderly and low income are about to close down. And what does that mean for you? I hope to God that you never, as a healthy person, get into an accident. But we live in America. We have disabling events happen every day. Car accidents, bridges collapsing, like craziness, right? Now, the hospital that you would have gone to that was like 10 minutes from wherever you were at is closed. So now the ambulance has to go over yonder in order to take you somewhere to get treatment. The entirety of America is about to feel it. And I just feel so bad because a lot of the people who are talking about fuck around and find out don't realize that people who didn't even have the ability to vote in, what was it, last year or this year's election, we're all about to be screwed. A lot of the people in the South are about to really feel it because they have a huge population of poor, low-income individuals and also rural hospitals. Like, if your hospital in the middle of nowhere closes, where the hell are you supposed to get health care? And our current presidency has put us in such an awful situation. The fact that we don't have Roe v. Wade, the fact that they're trying to convince women to have children, but at the same time cutting Medicare and Medicaid. If I live in the middle of nowhere and they shut down my hospital and you practically took away my abortion access, forcing me to have this kid, where the hell am I supposed to deliver? Our healthcare system has practically been hanging on a string for so many years now, especially after the pandemic. And now, not after the pandemic, we're still going through COVID. It's just that nobody cares anymore. But I don't even want to imagine what the hell is going to happen now that Medicare and Medicaid is about to be cut. I know that we are even having a shortage of primary care physicians. So I don't know what they are going to do because a lot of them also take Medicare and Medicaid recipients. I don't know, I'm very, very, very scared. Like, the US healthcare system has already been dangling by a string. So I don't even want to imagine the ramifications that this big, beautiful bill is going to do. So many people are gonna die. If you're somebody like me who has to take care of somebody with a disability, we're cooked. If you're somebody who has a child, you're cooked. If you're somebody with pre-existing conditions, you're cooked. If you're somebody who lives in the US, I don't even know what to say. I just wanted to let y'all know. Because while we're talking about hairstyles and acrylic and bust downs and Stanley cups and figs, nonsense like this is happening, man. So many people are gonna die. Healthcare is so important. And now is the time that we want to cut Medicare and Medicaid while giving billionaires and millionaires tax breaks. I don't even want to talk about that one country that we're practically the baby daddy to, that their citizens get to have free healthcare while we get our healthcare cut. Yeah. I don't even know what to say about that, guys, but I don't even know. I can't even end this video on a positive note. We're cooked. We're cooked.